Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Melanie. I'm one of the cybersecurity project managers here at SmartTech 247, and I'm joined today by Vlad, the head of data science from Getvisibility. Hi, Vlad.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mel.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to have a really quick chat about data classification, but specifically, we're going to chat about Getvisibility's approach to language classification. So Vlad, can you tell us a little bit about the natural language process that Getvisibility are using to process languages?
Sure. So, natural language processing is an extensive field in artificial intelligence, and it's usually the discipline of looking at large corpora of text and extracting some kind of information from the text. So either you're looking at identifying named entities in the text, at classifying the text, or binning whether the text is maybe a technical document or a financial document, or doing sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis has been pretty big since the advent of machine learning. And it usually entails deploying a typical engineering pipeline, which starts with acquiring the files that are of interest for us from the customer networks, and then using all kinds of pre-processing to extract the text and to prepare it such that we end up with the text in a certain format which is ready to be presented to the machine learning system. It's a mathematical formulation of the text at the paragraph or at the word level or at the document level, where we perform the mainline inference task. And then this is a mathematical representation of the task that gets processed. And what we do at Getvisibility is we actually have this way of extracting text and pre-processing it on customer premises, and then creating these signatures at the document level, which are basically impossible to retrofit into the original text, so customers know that we're not actually looking at their sensitive information, but which are very good towards informing and allowing us to train our machine learning models.
Okay, so you've mentioned machine learning a couple of times. Why do you need to use machine learning here?
That's a good question. We get that. It's in general, we use machine learning when you are facing a problem which is too complicated to be solved directly. So imagine that you need to say whether some kind of a piece of text is a business document or a financial document in a company, or whether it contains private information or private health information for that matter. And a few use cases off the top of your mind would be, okay, let's look for certain keywords or certain combination of keywords. But it turns out that the entire semantic content is relevant, and there are many different combinations of keywords which could potentially inform the decision. So if you unroll this process, you end up with an engineering effort which is pretty much not feasible towards doing this task at a certain level of accuracy. So, which is why what we do is we employ machine learning. We transform the task into a mathematical task, and we learn the rules that need to be applied from examples supplied by the customers.
Okay. And you mentioned semantic kind of complexities there. What are the other challenges that you run into? And I suppose how is Getvisibility, how do you stand apart from the others in meeting those challenges?
Sure. So one of the things that we keep doing is because the natural language processing in particular and machine learning in general is such a fluid field right now, with a lot of research from universities and from private entities. We keep looking at the state of the art, and there are these massive deep learning models that we use that are influenced by current research, state of the art research. But there is a challenge here, which is we don't need only to obtain the best performance in terms of accuracy. We also need to be able to obtain considerable throughput. So we need to be able to deploy on a corporate network and examine maybe hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of files, and then come up with an answer over where the liability may be in a compact amount of time. And this has been actually one of the challenges outside just maintaining high accuracy, and it's one of the things that we do. It's one of the things that sets us apart. That our system, based on experience and based on what we've been getting from customers is designed in such a way that even though it maintains state-of-the-art accuracy, it also has significant throughput, and it's also fairly fast at adapting to new examples and doing new kinds of classification.
Oh, wow, okay. Now, I know we did speak about natural language process. What's Getvisibility's approach to NLP, say, in multiple languages?
Oh, great question. So for multiple languages, our approach is that we try to make our system language agnostic as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. So what we do is the initial phases of the machine learning system that is deployed to look at the corpus of text are language specific and are trained using language models. We even use data from Wikipedia or any kind of text corpus. And then they're followed by phases of processing which are language agnostic. We produce intermediary representations of semantic content which are the same for all languages. And this has certain advantages in terms of building the system.
Okay. And why would you not just use, say, one model for English, one for Arabic, one for Spanish, and like, why not split them out?
All right, that's a great question, and we actually considered this at the beginning, but it turns out that there are a couple of issues with this. So even though it would be easier to implement, this has the problem that you may not be exposed to the same amount of information, to the same amount of training examples in each one of these languages. So you would have to balance out how you do training between the different models. And using a singular model, which is as agnostic, as language agnostic as possible, allows you to transfer information from one language to the other. So for instance, you are exposed to a large number of documents in English, which are talking about healthcare, and you will be able to determine for a corpus of documents in Arabic whether they're talking about healthcare. This is something that we need to systematically do because we can't rely on the examples being the same in all the languages. And the other reason we look at the problem this way is because, especially in the non-English speaking world, there are significant examples of documents in multiple languages at the same time with quotations and so on. So since our system is basically trying to determine the overview for the document, so it's creating some kind of a snapshot and telling what the document is all about semantically, that would be more difficult to put together from disparate models operating on the same document.
Okay, but what about, say, if we had entity recognition, which obviously significantly different between languages. What do you do about that?
Oh, sure. So there are certain tasks which look different in natural language processing between the different languages. So if you think about, let's say, your example, named entity recognition, the names in English would be completely different than the ones in, say, the Arabic-speaking world. But it turns out that in order to achieve good accuracy for many of these tasks, semantic context is extremely important. So let's say you're looking for a certain named entity, which is a specific company or a product, and you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but the context of the document, the way it's structured, is actually very informative towards determining if that particular entity is found in the document or not, which is conventional use case we keep seeing it with the customers. And it turns out that the way that the context is laid out is very similar between English and Arabic. There's actually information coming in from Arabic-speaking universities, from universities in the Arabic world, that they've been using cross-training from English text corpora for tasks such as named entity recognition or semantic analysis. And they have been achieving not only good results, but the ability to transfer information from one language to the other. Because in the end, we're all speaking the same language at the same entropy rate. It's just the words are different, and maybe some of the setting is different. But statistically, it's very similar.
I like that. That's good. Vlad, thank you so much. That's more than enough information for this chat. So it's really exciting to see Getvisibility, you know, leading the way here in things like language classification, and especially obviously in Arabic. We know Arabic is one of the I suppose it's one of the hardest languages to classify. So it's amazing to hear, and thank you so much for taking the time today to chat to me.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting for us too.
Thanks, Vlad.